Hi everyone, welcome to another PMFM. Today I'm delighted to be joined by Chris Jones of T3 Pharmacy Design. Now I've known Chris for a couple of years now, but I'm really happy to be able to actually sit down and talk about for once what you do, Chris, and what your specialism is, because I think it's really fascinating. It's something that I actually think is probably very undervalued in the world of pharmacists. Certainly, it's not something that I hear get talked about an awful lot, but I think it underpins a hell of a lot. So I'm really keen to dig into that. Um, do you want to give people a bit of a background of you and who you are and what it is that you specifically do?
Thanks, JP. Yeah, great to have this opportunity to talk to you today. Yeah, I'm Chris Jones. I'm the founder and the MD of T3 Pharmacy Design. We've been operating for just over 17 years now, and before that, I worked for Boots and Lloyd's Pharmacy in store planning roles. So I've been designing pharmacies now for probably more than 25 years, which has gone in the blink of an eye. But we've done a lot since, through that time. And the last 17 years, we've designed pharmacies, and that's pretty much all we do. We don't design post offices, shoe shops, or fashion retail or anything like that. We are purely pharmacy designers, so we spend a lot of our time in pharmacies and helping the pharmacy market to develop their spaces and create really good pharmacies. And in more recent times, we've been doing more with hospitals as well. So another branch of what we do.
Brilliant. So what I wanted to do, and you will, I'm almost certain you'll say, well, it depends, is get an idea from you of what if I guess in your dream scenario, what does a perfect pharmacy look like?
Well, it depends, JP. Yeah, we go through a very collaborative process. So, in my eyes, I believe that the pharmacy market is changing, the landscape's changing. There's more of a shift towards scripts and services. So, in my view, the emphasis will always be, and it always has been over the last 17 years, the emphasis is always on creating a really good dispensary that looks after the medicines, and its primary focus of what a pharmacy is there for. So to me, a really good dispensary is key. A really good, well organised dispensary that customers can see into. So it's a very open space, because I think people get they like to see that and see what's happening, and there's nothing hidden away. So to me, a very good open planned dispensary space, good consultation rooms, either one or two, and not too crowded a sales floor. So the emphasis isn't really on over the counter sales these days. So a light airy space that people have an opportunity to move around in.
Yeah. When I think of like great retail layouts, and I know it is slightly different for pharmacies and retailers, but when I think of like what is a great layout, there's two come to mind. Is like Hollister. I really like that experience of going in and like, again, granted it's very different, but they use sort of smells to like attract you in, and it feels like a journey around the store. But I also really like Apple. I think their layout and the way that they have staff interacting with people on the shop floor and all the products are laid out. I think that's like that Apple for me is probably like the modern like layout of the future almost. Is there anything? Do you take inspiration from like anything like that, or yeah? Is it?
Yeah, I think those two examples are really good examples. Of course, pharmacy spaces are very different, and they have a different, offer for customers. But certainly, where you think about an Apple Sports store, you'll think that it's very open. There's plenty of room to walk around, to browse at stuff, and also you've got access to your pharmacist, which I think is absolutely key. In the old days, you used to find that pharmacists would tend to be hidden away and not really accessible to the public. But now there's more emphasis on that. Customers want to come in, they want to talk to people about healthcare matters, and they need to have that opportunity, and that's key. So a big open planned sales space is really key, as the examples that you gave. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking as well. So if you've not, because there will be plenty of especially community pharmacies, but not just community pharmacies that think, oh well, we're quite limited on space. Um, are there any? What are the sort of workarounds, I guess, that you come up with when you're designing a pharmacy in a more limited space? What are your focuses, and
Well,
is that a dialogue with the business owner, I guess, of what they want to focus on? And
yeah, you've got to have that dialogue because it's their space, and they've got to make it work for you when we've gone off and left them with their new operation. And it's how they work operationally, but the key will always be getting the dispensary right. And to me, what we normally look at the moment is, where a shop floor can be really highly used in terms of number of wall bays, number of gondola bays. It can be really packed in, a lot of products in there that actually they should, like pound lines and things that really they're not going to make a lot of money on. And it will take time and effort to buy that stuff, display it and sell it, and actually not making a lot out of it. So to me, the workaround is reduce those lines
yeah,
and concentrate more on healthcare products only. Because in my view, the pharmacy should be the place for healthcare in that community. That's what it has to scream. We should, in my opinion, again, it shouldn't be about selling links, pound lines, and gift boxes and that sort of thing. There's way too much competition out there for that.
yeah.
And as I say, the concentration should be on providing healthcare services, which is exactly what I think we should be doing.
Yeah, I love that really, because that I often think that when I've gone into a community pharmacy is why are they selling that? Like it does feel like there's a lot of clutter, whereas
Yeah,
and again, going back to Apple, I think like what would I like going into a pharmacy, or what would actually draw me into somewhere? Because sometimes they are just nice. Like if I had 10 minutes to kill, the Apple Store is a nice place to go. Like it's a
yeah,
nice place
yeah.
to just hang around and look. And I sort of think that there's a real trick missed in that for pharmacies, where actually, oh, I've got 10 minutes to kill. I'll just go in here, and I know that someone will come up to me, they'll approach me and say, "Is everything okay?" And I might just be able to get that little niggling thing that's been, oh, I've had this ache, or this thing's going on. I might just be able to sort that out in 10 minutes. And I do think that what you're on there, like what you alluded to there with reducing the clutter and focus on what's actually important. I think that's a superly overlooked point. And
Yeah, yeah, pharmacists do a fantastic job, especially the last 2 years. They've been under a lot of pressure with the pandemic, a lot going on. But I'm proud to serve the pharmacy market. They do a superb job, and I think they're underutilised in many respects because where people have a minor ailment or something at the moment, we our first view generally is, oh, let's go and make an appointment with a GP. But it shouldn't really be that. It should actually go and have a conversation with your pharmacist, because 9 cases out of 10, the pharmacist is going to be able to help them and advise them and get them on the road to recovery much quicker than they will do through the GP service. That sort of idea has to change over time. But part of it is you create an environment where that can happen, and where people can see that you're just all about healthcare and giving good advice and help them get on the way to recovery, and that's the key thing.
yeah, did you hear about the vision recently for the super pharmacies? Someone was I can't remember the name of them, so apologies there, but someone was talking about their vision for creating, like, I think it was like 500 super pharmacies in the UK that sort of had dentists and opticians, and even I think like midwives and stuff was part of it. Like obviously, I imagine that would be like a bit of a dream for you to try and like create that level of space. But
Well, yeah.
what do you think of that, or what's your take on that?
Um, I think at the end of the day, what you've got to focus on is giving good service, because even creating a great pharmacy, it's the service that backs that up and delivers what the customer wants, and that is so important. If we're going to have a super pharmacy, then it has to be suitably manned with enough staff to accommodate all the customers that they have. And it's an interesting proposition. I think quite difficult to make work. But I think we have a fantastic network of pharmacies in this country anyway. And in some ways, it works better to serve a smaller community around that pharmacy, but just really make sure that it's all about healthcare. The help and advice is there for you, and you know exactly where to go for it. So, I think the thing is with super pharmacies, obviously there'd probably be a car journey, and a lot of
Yeah.
people can't do that, or they'd have to get on a bus, perhaps don't want to get on a bus. If you've got a local pharmacy like you have now that's well equipped, and answers all your needs, then to me that's the better way to go. But yeah, I'd certainly be interested in having a look at a super pharmacy. We'll see if it happens. Who knows?
Yeah, no. I think that's probably what I'm imagining is you almost like going into these sort of like flagship boot stores that have like 3 levels and
Yeah,
almost having like six pharmacists or like swanning about on each one, like meeting just loads of people. It's very very sort of like space age pharmacy, I think, is what I'm thinking of. But I kind of I suppose with like more population, like an ever-growing population, it's probably like I don't think that one negates the other. Do you know what I mean? I could probably see them
no,
working like that, because I think
yeah,
you're absolutely right
yeah,
that
yeah,
like many people that a community pharmacy is so important for. But I also then think like a busy city centre, like a
yeah,
pharmacy like that could. It's almost like a mini hospital, like
yeah,
an accessible hospital. We've got walk-in centres, I guess, and it'd
yeah.
be similar to that, except you can see all of the specialists in one place, and I can see that being quite big.
Yeah, yeah, it could happen. So it would take an awful lot of investment from somebody to make that
Mm.
happen, and a lot of work to do beforehand. But yeah, it could happen. So I wouldn't be against it, but I think it would be in conjunction with
Yeah,
still a good, recognised pharmacy network that we have now, and that's a key thing.
yeah. I want to pick up on something you mentioned earlier as well, which was about the patients being able to see into, I guess, like the dispensary area and see what's happening. How much do you think that will, as kind of like robots, like take over that space more and more? How much do you see that as, I guess, important? Because is I guess my kind of blue sky ambition for that is that a pharmacist almost never has to leave the counter when they're dealing with a patient. That they'll sort of just tap in a key and it will happen in the background, and maybe they'll just turn around and grab it off a robot arm that's presented it to them. How do you sort of account for? I suppose, how would you design a pharmacy? Or you can answer about 5 different questions here, one after. So like, how do you sort of see that going, changing the way that pharmacies are presented or laid out? And how would you, I guess,
Well,
design a pharmacy now that didn't have a robot, but maybe would have one in the next couple of years?
Well, we are starting to see more of a shift towards automation. There's no doubt about that. Automation is going to be a big part of future pharmacy. We're already seeing it now, where independents are starting to get involved in the thought process of thinking about whether they could accommodate a robot in their pharmacy, and whether it's the right way to go. There's lots of things to think about. In a lot of cases, it means that actually a robot coming in, obviously, if you think about the financial investment, that's fairly high. But as technology gets better all the time, the cost of these things are coming down. So they're starting to make it more affordable to independent pharmacists. And this means that then the mundane tasks that happen in a pharmacy every day are done with the robot, which saves then staff time, which means you can reallocate that staff time to giving good healthcare advice, to looking after their customers, which is an absolute key thing. And also things like, because it works on barcode technology, It's looking at the products that are stocked in the robot. It's keeping an eye on use by dates and that sort of thing, and stock control, and it makes a massive difference to what's happening. Automation is a big thing for the future. It is coming in now. We're looking at a few projects at the moment where we've got independent pharmacists with decent script volumes. I mean, that's the key thing. And they're looking at robots, and we're assisting them with that to deliver the installation of a robot, but also the pharmacy space around it, because it has to match. If you're going to put a robot in and you embrace all of the benefits and efficiencies you get with a robot, you need to match that with the space around it as well, and that's where our key service comes in. But yeah, automation is a thing of the future. The other thing is the vending machine, well, they call them vending machines, but where you can get 24-hour prescription collection in front of a shop is absolutely becoming very relevant these days.
Yeah, no, that was kind of I guess part and parcel of the question, because it does seem like, for me when I talk to people about like the pharmacy business, it is with an eye to automating the prescriptions as much as possible, because they're it's a lot of low value, high volume, low margins, high volume. Like, you've got to automate that and concentrate your time on the higher value tasks. Like your private clinics and such. So that's what I was really interested to get your take on how that all ties in, I guess, to pharmacy design, and how the layout and how thinking about that design can make, I suppose, like whatever model you're aiming for, like, you have to think about that from a design perspective to make, well, you don't have to, but it's going to make your life a hell of a lot easier if you're working.
Absolutely right. Yeah. Absolutely right. And you touched on clinics there. Clinics are another area where we have pharmacy operators now considering that as a way forward. So not only are they operating a pharmacy, but they're also offering a clinic as well. And we're actually doing one in South Yorkshire at the moment. We're designing one along with the client. A great journey this is, and a fantastic space it will be. And I can't wait for it to develop further now, because it will be a fantastic space. But there are two very different elements within one space. But there are more and more people now looking at that as an opportunity to develop what they do with their business. So that's fantastic.
Brilliant. Yeah. Okay, I want to end on your prediction, like just one big prediction for the future. Let's say 10 years time. What's happened in the world of pharmacy in 10 years time?
Wow, that's a good question, JP. Not sure I can fully answer that, because I don't have a crystal ball, although I've been looking for one for a long time, but not found one yet. I just genuinely think that we just have to concentrate more on healthcare, and that's it. We go to a lot of pharmacy spaces around the UK. We operate UK wide. And some of them, they're back in time, really. They're back in the 70s, and they're almost like a corner shop. And we've kind of got to go away from that. Emphasis on healthcare only. And we sell healthcare products, but also automation will be a big thing. I would say that in 10 years' time, I would think most pharmacies will have some element of automation within it, whether that be prescription collection opportunity in a shop window, or an internal robot like the big ones that we've talked about, because it's all about convenience, it's all about speed, there's a whole bunch of factors, but it's all about being the absolute best of what you can be. So to me, it's just emphasizing more on healthcare and what pharmacy should be doing.
And I was going to follow up then with and what could pharmacists do, pharmacy owners do now then to prepare for that? But I guess it's probably starting to think about healthcare only is probably a good start. But anything?
Yeah. Yeah, I think what they should do is really have a good long look at their own pharmacy spaces, cast a critical eye over it, and really be open and honest about this, and think about, is your space fit for the future? And if you don't think it is, and if you're selling lots of pound lines, and if your pharmacies are a bit disorganised and running out of space, you have to think about, well, ideally, what would you do? And you've got to start where you are, look at your pharmacy, try and see things from a customer viewpoint. That's the thing. Put yourself in their shoes. Pharmacists do a fantastic job, but there is also a responsibility to make sure that your space is absolutely perfect to serve the healthcare public.
Yeah, brilliant. No, thanks so much, Chris, and thanks for joining me today as well. It's been a genuine pleasure talking. Uh, is there any way people can get in touch with you if they want to ask you more questions, or if they feel like I've not asked the right questions and they go, I have more questions. Why didn't he ask those questions?
Well, you can probably tell from me, JP, that I love talking pharmacy anyway. I'm always happy to give an opinion or a thought on pharmacy. So yeah, they can get in touch. Certainly, I mean, I don't know whether you well, if we look at our website, that's the first place to go to, which is t3pharmacydesign.co.uk. There is a page on there if you want to get in touch if you have a question, and there's also all our contact details. So we operate in the Midlands, but we cover nationwide. So if anybody has a question on pharmacy, perhaps that they want to get in touch with, I'd love to hear from them.
Yeah, I'll leave I'll get all the links and stuff, and I'll leave them in the description of the video, so people will be able to do that. Thanks for watching, everyone. As always, if you could like and subscribe, if you're still here, you obviously liked it. So if you could subscribe for more content. We're very nearly at 500 subscribers now on our YouTube channel, and I would love to get there shortly. So that would be brilliant. Thanks once again, Chris, and we'll see you on the next video.
Thank you, JP. Thanks very much.